Okay, I would like to call this meeting to order, October 25th, 2022. I would like to add an item to the agenda with council approval. The under unfinished business, guest speaker, Corey Bartlett, Gigamedics for the wastewater treatment plant cameras. I don't know if he'll show up, but he requested. So, any objections?
No, none.
All right, so we'll have Pledge of Allegiance. Any minutes.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council, have you had time to read the regular meeting minutes of October 11th, 2022?
Yes, and I make a motion that we approve those minutes for October 25th, 2022.
I second it.
It's moved and seconded to approve October 11th, 2022 regular meeting minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Laura, motion carries.
Robert called in stating that he could not make the meeting due to possible exposure to COVID. So we ask if that is an excused absence. If the council approves that as an excused absence for the meeting.
Could you repeat that, please, Barbara?
Robert called in at 4:25 this evening stating he had a possible exposure to COVID by a friend in his garage. And I ask if that is an excused absence for the meeting.
In this instance, I see no reason to not order it as an excused absence.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I didn't.
I said I don't see any reason not to agree to that as an excused absence.
Seconded. You have it in the form of a motion. I motion that he has an excused absence.
Okay.
I second it.
Okay, moved and seconded to accept Robert Duke's excused absence from the meeting tonight. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Mike text Maribel stating that he might make it. He might not make it due to work obligations. We ask the same if it's an excused absence or not.
Well, considering that we do have a quorum, I don't see any addition to that. And now you have to make a motion.
Okay, moved and seconded to accept Mike Wolf's absence from the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Right.
And any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, we'll keep Corey Bartlett in the agenda. If he shows up later, we'll catch him up.
Okay.
Evacuation planning was to be Robert Hughes' plans to present the progress of his plans. Anybody else with their plans? We did have an instance just today. I don't know how long, but the train was stopped and blocked both crossings. And Don Biddick had to, from the south side, take the cow trail to go out and around the train. I don't know why it was blocking, but that's just, it's not really an emergency type thing, but it could have been for ambulance, it would have been for someone getting to a doctor. So it is a kind of a viable plan to have in our system so that we know the routes to take.
I agree. I'm sorry I do not have anything to add to the evacuation plan, but it is very important to the town as a whole, and including members who are not as conversed with all of the exit avenues out of the town of Wood. So I think it is very important that we get that resolved and the plan implemented, such as it may be.
Okay, we'll just do a continuation of working on that.
Apparently so.
Okay, Mr. Corey Bartlett, would you like to address the council and audience on your wastewater treatment plant camera progress?
Sure. Hi, Corey Barlow with Gigamax up in Ritzville. We came down at the request of the City Council to review the cameras that were at the wastewater treatment plant and out at number 9, right, the well. And we found that the old provider of security did not do a proper assessment. They tried to tell the City Council that all the cameras were burned out, the DVR was burned out, everything needed to be replaced, to the tune of thousands and thousands of dollars. We discovered that the DVR was the only thing damaged, and that was the only item that needed to be replaced. So we were able to save the town of Lynn a lot of money that way. So really happy about that. We replaced the DVR, reprogrammed it, new hard drive, and all the cameras came back up. So not a single camera was damaged at the wastewater treatment facility, which is really good news. We do want to monitor the camera system or assist the town of Lynn in monitoring the security system because of the theft and some other things that have happened out at the well. So we proposed shooting extending the Wi-Fi signal from the wastewater treatment plant out to the well and then having a camera up at the well and the pump so we can monitor that situation for them. We were under the assumption in the beginning that there was already Wi-Fi possibly at the wastewater treatment plant because how else was the other company monitoring? So they were either not monitoring, I don't see any evidence that they were actively monitoring out there, or they were using a proprietary radio band, like a cell tower, to monitor because there is no Wi-Fi out of the wastewater treatment facility. So CenturyLink DSL is not really an option out there because it's the wrong way. All the DSL lines are on this way into town, this way, not out that way. So this is the next option. This is a Verizon router. This router provides Wi-Fi anywhere I take it. So great signal out there, we can put this in there. The device itself is $299. Then there would be a Wi-Fi cost of about $60 a month. ongoing. That would provide Wi-Fi to the wastewater treatment facility. and would allow us to extend the signal from there out about a mile to the well. And repeat that signal out there so we have access to that camera as well. And anybody that, you know, is on the town council or the mayor could have access to those cameras as well and get notifications when there's disruption. So wanted to bring this by and show you and see if that's the direction you wanted to go. So that's why I came down tonight. Just kind of report on the progress.
Okay, you state that so-called hotspot type instrument is $299,
Correct.
and the monthly fee is how much?
It's I believe it's $59.99 a month, plus there's some taxes in there. I think it comes out to about $64 a month
Okay,
after the Verizon. And that's a bill that would get paid directly to Verizon, just like if we set up CenturyLink for the city, it would get paid directly to CenturyLink.
okay.
The wastewater treatment plant does have some internet there, but it's not internet we can use because it could interfere with the alarms and with the systems that are set up to monitor the wastewater treatment facility itself. So we do not want to tap into that system because that's a closed internet system. It's just for the wastewater treatment facility. So this is the right way to do it.
Okay, so if we implement that device, then we would have access
Correct.
to both the waste treatment plant and well 9
Yeah,
at
with
all
the
times.
correct. With the correct credentials, we can program it to where from any browser with the username and password, you can log in and see all of the cameras at the wastewater treatment facility and out at the well.
Okay, and is there any additional cost for town council members or the mayor or the staff to
To view that?
do that?
No. No cost whatsoever for that.
Okay.
Do we still have the sheriff notified if something happens out there? Or did we lose that?
So we have partnered with the city according to the proposal we put in to do that and monitor that for you. And we get alerts also. They go directly to our cell phone and our alert system. So when we get an alert that happens after hours or in the middle of the night, we would alert the sheriff right away. Put that out.
And so you would call the sheriff first and then the
Yes,
town?
and for the monitoring, it was in the proposal. It does work out to $50 a month for the monitoring if you want to continue that with us, and that's paid to us. If you decide, hey, we can monitor this ourselves, you can drop that after the first year.
I would think that I'd feel more comfortable if there is someone monitoring it 24/7.
Yeah, and that is a 24/7 monitoring type of situation.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't take long to make up the difference of the cost.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And just, so we know, Moon Security has been charging us for monitoring this place. Yet, they can't see the cameras.
I thought
Why are we paying for it?
I thought that their contract ends November. Yep. Okay. At that point in time, they would no longer be monitoring.
From my understanding, they can't see it right now. They couldn't see it a year ago.
Well, what they did see, if that's what you want to say, is if you came in the door and broke or come in through a window and broke that seal, that's what they would have.
Right, they did have entry alarms,
Oh, that's what it's,
So-
yeah.
but they couldn't view the stuff on the camera itself.
But the main problem is watching what's going on outside.
Right.
That's where our main power grids are, our main monitoring systems are they're outside.
Right.
The effluent tank, the influent tank. That's all outside, that's not in the building. Those panels are outside,
And switching to this system gives you that real-time monitoring outside.
that we can see if somebody's outside messing with something.
Okay. What about inside?
Yeah, we actually have a camera inside as
Yes,
well.
there is one camera inside.
Okay, but Moon did not. Okay, well,
The way they had it set up was for entry into the building.
Yeah.
They would
Just
get
if the
notification.
door opened.
Door open, the window broke, something like that, then they would be notified of movement in the
I
building.
got them to call once because I had to change the battery in the motion detector.
And that's pretty standard for most major, large alarm companies. They sell you on the idea of 24-hour surveillance monitoring, but really it's just entry monitoring. And that's true with home security and business security too. Yes.
So didn't Moon Security have like 6 or 8 cameras?
There's 8
Seven.
cameras.
8 cameras? How many will you be?
So there'll be a total of 9.
9?
Yeah, all the 8 cameras that were there are still in perfect condition. They still work just fine, so there's no reason to replace those. We're just adding one more out of well number 9, plus a repeater, new modem, a repeater, and an access point out of the well for the web. So. Any other questions for me?
anybody else?
I think it sounds like a good idea to me.
I agree. So, I'd like to make a motion to add that
Yes,
to the system.
I second it.
It's moved and seconded to add the router plus the Verizon capabilities for the monitoring the wastewater treatment plant. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
And I had the camera at
Oh, sorry. And add webcam at well 9.
You have to add Gigamegabytes to that list. Aren't you going to be monitoring?
Yes, we are. And that was already approved, I believe, at the last city council.
Okay.
Yep. That's part of the original proposal.
Stephen's right, extra camera at 9.
And that was in that original proposal. So.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. If you don't mind, I got a service call here in town. I'm gonna go do that. Still late night tonight. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right. Council. The burn ban is off. And I'm proposing with the town dump to be closed. Right now, it's still open, no key, no lock. But after November 13th, and I just picked the middle of the month, that it will be totally closed, all users. You can't go around the gate, don't want you to go over the bank to dump. But the town crew will use that time to prepare for springtime. In other words, burn at an opportune moment that we can get rid of the brush that's out there. But if you want to change a date, that's fine, but this is what I printed out for you. November 13th being the last day for the town dump to be open. Sir?
I'd like to change the date.
Okay. Okay,
I want to change it to November 1st.
November
I
1st.
have time to fix the road before I burn it.
Oh,
In case something goes wrong, and I have to call the fire department out.
okay. The reason why I had the 13th is that that was a Veterans Day 3-day weekend. So you would prefer the 1st, which is just a week away.
Because I
It
need
would be a
time
week from,
today. Or, I need,
is there any way that we can stretch that a little bit? 'Cause I know there are some of us that have things that we'd like to get out of our
Oh.
yards.
if you want to stretch it, we can stretch it. I just need time because the road's in really bad shape and I need it closed while I'm working on it. I don't need people running in and out.
Okay. Well,
We can stretch it to the 13th if that works for everybody the best.
Yeah, like the 7th or something in the middle.
yeah, what about about the 7th?
7th works great.
All right,
I would like it closed before I start working on the road.
absolutely. With that understanding, I do have one other question in connection with that. When in the springtime are we going to reopen?
March
What?
March 1st, as far as I'm okay with it. But as soon as March comes and weather starts clearing up,
Right,
anymore, we get snow till April, so
yeah, I understand.
whenever you guys feel comfortable going out there, it's fine.
Okay. If we have a closure date and then a reopening date, I make a motion that we close the dump officially on November 7th. And then it will be open on March.
13th.
You were so complimentary. Thank you.
If you date, you
Well,
want a date, I'll
and you
get
14th, it's, St. Patrick's Day.
The 13th will be sufficient. Okay.
17th.
Need a second?
My bad.
I second it.
Okay, moved and seconded to, totally close the, town dump on November 7th for maintenance, and then, open back up March 13th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries.
Just an addendum to that, the dump itself is not owned by the town.
No, it's not.
It is owned by a property owner that is allowing us to use that. So please keep that in mind when it does reopen, that we maintain a good posture as far as just taking burnable waste out there.
And I know him very well. And he's not happy about people driving across the CRV.
I didn't figure that he would be. So, all right.
All right. Council item C or D, whichever way you want to look at that. The water sewer rate discussion. With your packet information, and for your information, just general, we need a minimum of 2 budget hearings for the discussion of any proposed 2023 budget before approval at the end of December. You were given the 2022 water and sewer rates ordinances at last meeting. Now you have the bright yellow sheet that is the 2023 loan payment information. And as you can see, the grand total of the loans that the town of Lynn is obligated to through the years is totals out to be $1,977,830.65. With the yearly payments totaling $98,143.67. So we owe short of $2 million, and we need to pay each year, I'll round up, $99,000. That's the loans. So with that information, use that to assist with your thoughts and discussions with the 2023 water and sewer rates, as well as other rates that are coming down the line. Please remember that the garbage rates cannot be raised, but only through public hearings. So there is no increases to the garbage rates. because you didn't do any public hearings on that. So water and sewer, this is your information for you to use. Remember your sewer rate was, what was it? Yeah, currently it's 73.25. The 1.74% increase makes it the 74.52. And the water is currently 65.11. 1.73% increase would make it 66.24. If you decide to do that, but that's what the ordinance says.
Okay. As I understand it, we need to conduct another hearing.
No, I just threw that out there that we have to have two budget hearings before we can approve in December. So all of this information will be plugged into the budget numbers and
Okay.
then presented in those hearings.
All right.
So you can have your discussion with your rates, battle back and forth information. Sir. Oh, sorry. I thought that was his hand.
I just wondered if you had a dollar total of what that 1.74 and 1.73 brings to the town as far as extra income?
The what?
The 1.74 increase and the 1.73 increase?
Total bill, if you're talking about a total bill for water, sewer, and
No.
garbage,
No,
no, I do not have it separated out. But the total bill would be 160.76.
but you don't know how much an increase of money to the town that.
I haven't separated that out yet. So.
So at the last meeting, because the residents here don't understand what that increase is for. So, let me see if I got the right one. Resolution 13-10, the town of Lynn has entered into an agreement with the Department of Commerce for a drinking water state revolving fund loan. And whereas the Department of Commerce requires an establishment of adequate rates and reserves sufficient to provide debt repayment. And whereas the town of Lynn understands that this loan is a revenue obligation payable solely from the revenue of the water system. So I don't have the number in front of me what that loan was. I think there was a $40,000 payback for that loan at like 2.4% interest. So we had to come up with the reserve fund, and that is, where is it going? The reserve fund, that is why the rate increase has started. It's for that reserve fund. This was dated November 26, 2013. Jamie Schmunk and Patricia Phillips.
But the increase would have been put into place at that time to cover that loan,
It's not to cover the loan,
or to cover what was the
Okay.
obligation of the town.
and we did
Every
have an
time we do a
increase, and
project,
then
we
we also
do
had the next year, there was no increase.
But-
And then.
But the increase for that year stays permanent. You increased it 2%, whatever. That year, it's still a 2% increase for all the rest of the years.
But we didn't do that over those years.
No, you don't have to do an additional 2% every year. You just
You
have to
don't
you figure out what you need to do to cover that amount of money. And you make that increase and attach it to the project to give the people a reason why you have to
Okay,
increase.
so then,
That's what I think.
no, I don't think that's right, because we had the first year of it increased, then you skipped a year, and then it increased again.
Well, we did increases when we did projects. And like if we did a water project, we increased the water rates to match whatever the loan portion to the grant, to whatever the project was. You figure it out at that time, what you have to bring in, and you add it at that time, and it goes from then forward. It doesn't go away each year. The 2% increase is there.
So you increase 2% every year,
No.
or you just?
No, you increase
it.
it, you increase it 2%, but you don't take it back 2% the next year.
We didn't take it back.
No. So I'm trying to explain is, you still did your 2% increase. You figured out how much money you had to have coming in every year, and that 2% increase is still figured into the water rate.
Okay, so every year, that 2% gets put into the loan.
Because you already figured it in, and it was a rate increase. If you go backwards, you have to reason.
I don't think we did a 2%, we did,
I was just using that as a.
Rounding up. The paragraph that, I think Kathy's referring to, section 1, that beginning January 1st of whatever year, the town of Lynn shall increase the basic monthly water service rate for all users by 1 7/73%, 1.73, and rounded as council decision on the first day of January each year thereafter. So that's the paragraph in the water. And the paragraph in the sewer pretty much is the same. Beginning January 1, whatever year, shall increase the basic monthly sewage service for all users by 1 74%, 1.74%, and rounded as council decision on the first day of January each year thereafter.
What document are you reading from?
Ordinance 2105 and 2106, and it's just repeated from year to year through.
Through the ordinance in which it was
Yeah.
What was the original ordinance?
21, well,
I've got ordinance 0901, so that's 2009. Beginning, this was April, section 1 of ordinance 0405 of Town of Lynn be hereby amended to read as follows. Section 1, beginning April 1st, 2009. The Town of Lynn basic monthly water service rate shall be increased by an additional $3.50. And beginning January 1st of 2010, the Town of Lynn basic monthly water service rate shall be increased by an additional $1. And on January 1st of each calendar year thereafter, the basic monthly water service rate shall be further increased by an additional $1. And then it gives you the rates. So that would, it's been increasing all along here, but that was 2009. On up. In 2011, it was increased 5.95%. Yeah, that's water. And shall further increase the basic for all users 1.87% the first year or first day of January each year thereafter.
those ordinances need to be cleaned up a little bit.
Well,
That is
every year it
extremely-
adds on, but I'm just giving you some background. So.
I understand the background.
And Jamie understands that, it was $3.50, bang. And then it was an additional $1 on top of that, 2009.
That wasn't.
I didn't say that, what I said,
Okay.
you understand how it
Yeah.
works. And then as it progresses through each year, then that's where it kind of fluctuated with the percentages. And I just threw that out, 1.74 one year, 1.87 another year. That's not water.
So the council can approve or deny or amend those? Is that what I'm understanding? Right? Okay.
And the year that Kathy was talking about, what was it? Kathy suspending,
14.
14, there was, here it is, ordinance 1504, that beginning January 1st, 2016, Town of Lynn shall suspend the increase of the basic monthly water service rate for all users for the period of 1 year from 16 through, through January to December. And then the water rate increase shall resume on January 1st of 2017. So that's just confirming what was said before. So council, it's something that you're going to have to discuss and talk over amongst yourselves, so that we can plug in, make a decision, and plug in for the end result of the budget.
I said, if we're ever gonna get this paid off, it might be a good idea. That's what I'm thinking. We have to have enough money in the kitty to pay off our loans and our debts.
Obviously,
I just think that
there's a lot of
Like
disparity
you
in
know,
our
water,
grand
Just
total
now.
and our yearly total. And so if we ever wish to accomplish our goal of eliminating these grants and be in compliance, and I think, 1.73 for water and 1.74 for sewer would be, it does need to be implemented in that regard.
Council, Stephen has a question or something.
I was just gonna say, like, being a homeowner, your property taxes go up. And it raises your mortgage rate, but you still have to pay it to keep your house. They lean that.
I think everybody is aware that this year we took a hit
We
in
did.
property taxes that I hadn't seen before. I've been here since '92. So, and the explanation that I received, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, was that
They have it.
there had not been an increase in many years. And I thought, okay, well, why are you taking this big a chunk? But, there was no recourse because they say that's the way it is.
Yep.
You're welcome to fight City Hall, in this case, County Hall, but it would be to no avail.
No.
So, I think the increases are
Legitimate.
are well within the parameters to keep our operations going, because Any town cannot operate in a deficit for very long, or you cease to become a town. So,
We're in a deficit, you're saying?
pardon?
Are we in a deficit now?
No, we are not in a deficit. I said, if it continues and we don't keep up with it, we would become a deficit. And then the town would cease to exist. There is a point in time in which if we don't do due diligence on our rates, that we will be without. Because it's a simple matter of money. You either have it or you don't.
So what's the profit on the water fund right now?
Pardon?
Do you know what the profit is on the water fund right
The
now?
profit? I wasn't aware
How
that
much
there was any.
How much ahead are we in the water fund? Is it negative? Is it positive?
Tell you what. Got a bunch of copy right away. We'll get to your questions in just a moment, since we answered this one.
I just don't want to be forgotten.
Pardon?
I just don't want to be forgotten.
You will not be forgotten.
Yes.
Okay. Waterworks, the fund expenditures, the amount budgeted was $420,707. In August, we expended $14,947.40. And year-to-date, the total is $203,521.42. The remaining, which is 48.4%, is $217,185.58 on the budget. So I would assume if things keep going at their current rate, that we should be within about 4% of our budget remaining.
So did we
But
have,
that's just an estimate. I'd have to extrapolate it out. And when you're dealing with unknown figures, that's not going to happen until it does happen.
and did we have an increase in loans this year on the sewer, on the water plant? I mean, excuse me, the water fund?
There are,
The only new loan is the $49,000 for the lift station.
right.
That's sewer. So we don't have any new loans, so I'm not sure that we need to be raising it if we don't have any new loans, but
But I mean,
anyway.
also, I feel like we need to prepare for the future too, because there's gonna be projects that we need to get done. So if we're putting money into the account now, then we hopefully won't be like 5 million.
If you have too
So
much
prepare
though,
for the
you don't
future.
get loans too, but we would never get that much anyway, that doesn't matter. Anyway, sorry, other people have questions.
Okay. Kathy, you had your hand up first?
Yeah, I just have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
With the original loan, it states in there that if this fund is not made, that whatever it's
The
called.
criteria for it
Yeah.
is not,
You'll go into default, and then that whole loan has to be paid back, not just the small part, the small portion that the account pays, but the whole thing would, because if you default on a loan, you're messing the account up big time.
Are we in that situation where we're close to default?
No, I'm just,
no, we're saying that if we do not do as the stipulation of the loan requires, then come time there, we will be in default and have to pay the entire loan back. Now, we are not there yet, okay?
And we're
So
nowhere
hold on to
near,
your bitches,
we're
we'll get
nowhere,
there.
we're nowhere near that, so.
No, we're making payments.
We are making payments as we have continued to do so from the time. All right. Heather?
So, just a, I guess, comment slash opinion. I know the situations like this aren't as black and white as we would like them to be, especially when you think of budget and financing.
Right.
Understanding how much town revenue we get in, from what I looked at, was a pretty high number. I haven't looked at the budget what you guys have. So if we're paying on past loans and we're able to make the payment currently, maybe that's something to look at as for the budget as a whole and not just water, sewer,
Certainly,
things like
and that's
that.
one of the things that we will be doing to see any changes that we can make in regards to that, not only that area, but the entire operation of the town,
Yeah,
which is part of the budget.
yeah. And, you know, these are hard times for everybody, especially in the nation, the state. So maybe something to consider being, you know, as small as we are, you know, and not a lot of people are able to possibly keep up with the increases every year. So maybe, you know, I guess I would hope for some compassion on that part, you know, understanding that, you know, we are on hard times. Maybe we wait a year and see what other projects needed moving forward, because I understand your point, Laura, that, you know, we can plan for projects in the future, but, you know, see what we need to, I guess, work on and then increase once we get to that point. That's just my opinion.
Thank you. All right. So with that in mind, the increases that are being discussed are, the total bill, the water would be $66.24. The sewer would be $74.52. And the garbage would be $20, which it has been input item. Yes, sir.
So where so you're saying it should be 64, what is it right now? 60 something?
65 is within that, 72.
65.11,
And then it's gonna go up to,
66.24. There is a easy change to make it more readily discernible. Is for water, it would be $66.25. Then the sewer would be $74.50 versus $74.52. And then the garbage, of course, would stay the same at 20.
I said, do it.
Math wise, if you take your 160.76 and subtract what it is today of 158.36, then that's $2.40.
Okay. Now if you are having trouble paying your electricity or your water, sewer, and garbage, there are avenues that you can go to get some kind of relief. But please keep in mind that these bills are always ongoing. They're not liable to decrease anytime soon. We will do our due diligence to ensure that we, if there is a accommodation to be made where we can keep it the same, we will try and do so. It's kind of difficult because along with inflation, our costs increase as well. So we do have to keep that in mind and take it into account.
And council, I gave you this loan chart information. We've yet to hear from the courthouse talking about property taxes. So she's promised that by the end of the first week of November that she would be the assessor would be letting us know about her treasurer would be letting us know about everything that else is going to be coming down our way.
I don't believe that's going to be good news. No.
So is there any more discussion to go with these water sewer rates?
Well, we still have to pay this money back. And it's,
Looking at 28 right now. Let's pay that up. I will have to say though, just real quick, with the water and sewer, with the last rain, my grass is green. I'm loving it. Just FYI. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I didn't want to know it.
Yeah, let's move it. Bye-bye.
And I haven't watered it.
That's what I said, it was good for the drain. No, good. It's precious.
Probably cheaper.
Okay, I make a motion, we approve the raise of 1.73 and 1.74.
I second it.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to have the water raise the 1.73% and the sewer rates be raised the 1.74%. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, can I be recognized for a question?
Yes.
Did I not hear that, and I may have misunderstood, in order for the council to approve that, did I hear that there had to be a public hearing, or I might have misunderstood, so
The
can you
garbage,
clarify?
the garbage rates have to have public hearings.
Okay,
The water and sewer is council decision
I see.
at this point. And the, what I started out to say is that the minimum 2 budget hearings for the discussion for the proposed total 23 budget
I see. Okay,
is
thank you.
yet to come. But in order to get all those numbers plugged in, you gotta.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, council, back to the agenda. Oh, okay, new business, the Gator hours. That's the blue half sheet, please. And the first paragraph is for the new council members' benefit. Bringing this to your attention that when the Gator is used on the streets, there needs to be a reimbursement from the street fund to the sewer fund, because the Gator had been purchased with wastewater treatment plant funds, loans, whatever it was, federal money. This spring and summer months, the gator was used approximately, please note, 3 times per week for 4 weeks per month for 6 months, which calculates out to be 72 hours. The 72 hours is multiplied by previously decided council decision, $3 per hour. So that comes out to be $216. So I am asking for approval to transfer funds of $216 from street fund to sewer fund for the use of the gator.
I make a motion that we approve the transfer of $216 from sewer wastewater treatment to street funds in the amount, again, of $216.
From streets to sewer.
Yeah.
Yes, sewer, I'm sorry.
And I second it.
Okay, moved and seconded to transfer $216 from streets to sewer. Okay,
All right.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. Building permits, council, there are 2 to consider approval of. They're both re-roofs.
I make a motion that we approve Mike and Tammy Doyle's replacement of a garage roof.
I second the motion.
It's moved and seconded to approve the building permit application for the Doyle family. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries.
I make a motion to accept Barbara DeBoer's for re-roofing of her home on the south side of town.
I don't see any value on it.
You give me value.
She paid the fee.
She paid,
Pardon?
she paid the fee.
She paid the fee down there at the bottom.
I see that. Is there any way that we can get an evaluation dollar amount in regards to that?
I would have to call her and ask.
When is this to be done?
This next week.
Okay.
Mr. Dorshak, the roof is a flat fee. It doesn't matter, it could be $10 worth of shingles or $10,000 worth of shingles, it's a flat fee. Does that help you?
Is there any way we can contact her?
I don't have her number on me, I'm sorry.
I probably do, but you could plug in $100,000 and it's not gonna make any difference. You guys can just plug in any number. Because it's not gonna be $100,000, but you could plug in the number and approve it for up to 100,000 or up to 50,000 or whatever you want to approve it for.
Yeah, Adams County says a re-roof is $150 regardless of the valuation of the
Right.
project.
Okay. All right. Let's plug in a value of up to 100,000. That covers the base. Make a motion to
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to approve Department of War's re-roofing application. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have new business, item C. Vicki Thatcher is addressing the council.
Not undressing the council.
I didn't say that, I said addressing.
I brought my little podium because I need to write. That's why I'm up here. I hope that's okay with you. Okay, perfect. Good evening. Madam Mayor, council members, clerk, fellow audience members. My name is Vicki Thatcher, and I've been a resident of Lind since December 1st, 2020. Tonight, I stand before all of you to ask 2 questions of our elected officials. With that, I ask that you remain calm and silent as our mayor and council members present their answers. This is not a debate or cause for disruption, as these are my questions to ask and my request for a response. The first question is a yes or no answer request and does not require explanation, nor will it garner judgment or repercussion from me. I eagerly anticipate your honest responses, and with your permission, Mayor, since you are the presider of the meeting, I will proceed. My question number 1 is very simple, yes or no. Is it your intention to pursue the recall of the sitting mayor, Paula Bell? Councilman Dorshak, yes or no?
No.
Councilwoman Dew, yes or no?
No.
Councilwoman Horton, yes or no?
No.
Thank you. I'm just gonna circle that. Madam Mayor, I have a question for you. Is it your intention to resign?
No.
Thank you. Question number 2 is a little more difficult, but I think you'll be able to do this. From what I've heard this evening, I think it's going to be a fairly easy answer. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Mayor Bell. What is a goal you would like to achieve in your capacity as mayor in the next 3 months? Talk slow and right. It can be simple, it can be complicated. Just in the next 3 months, what would you like to accomplish?
To continue to work with the council. Strive for a solution to well 7. Just keeping things moving forward.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, I'm going to pick on you, Councilwoman Horton. What is a goal you would like to achieve in your capacity as a town council member in the next 3 months?
I would like to see improvement in our infrastructure.
Okay.
And I would like to know where we stand with all projects.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Councilwoman Dew. In the next 3 months, what would you like to accomplish?
I would like to see, or I would like to have an answer for the well and to find out what the issue of the well is so we can move forward with that.
And is this well 7 as we?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. And then Councilman Dvorak, what would be yours?
Well, my goals are a little bit loftier and a little bit lengthier.
Okay.
Number 1, I would like to have the entire town council in one accord to move the town forward, to look around, find new projects to improve the health and welfare of the town, and to leave any negative comments in the rearview mirror, so to speak, so that we can concentrate on growing. That's my goal.
I wrote as fast as I could. Now, the challenge will be to be able to read this when I get home. All right, so, thank you. Thank you all very much for your honesty and your answers. So, as an elected official, you should have been sworn in by an oath, kind of like the one I'm about to read. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I am duly qualified according to the Constitution of this state to exercise the duties of the office to which I have been elected, and that I will, to the best of my ability, discharge the duties thereof, and preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of this state and of the United States. As an elected official of the town of Lynn, I will equally, fairly, and impartially, to the best of my ability and skill, exercise the trust reposed in me, and will use my best endeavor to preserve the peace and carry into effect, according to law, the purposes for which I have been elected, so help me God. As a member of this town, I will hold you and the other two gentlemen who are missing this evening personally accountable for those words and your actions pursuant to your positions. I hope with my whole heart that I can trust others to do the same in an impartial and equitable way, just as we have done here tonight. So on January 24th, 2023, I will again attend a town council meeting. And at that time, I will expect to hear progress reports. I expect to be educated on how you started your goals, what you learned in the process, and whether you have achieved what you have set out to do. I think it came up in a meeting not too long ago, who holds you accountable? Who holds any elected official accountable? We all do. So therefore, I will hold you accountable. And I stand here today and give you my oath that I will. I would like to thank you for your time, your honesty and candor, your service to the people of this town. And more than anything, I look forward to seeing the progress you make in the coming months. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Council, with the continuation of mayor's report, the manila envelope that was given to you. I hope you've had time to read. What I would like to do first is the email, the white papers. And the email heading is meter estimates. And it has to do with new installations of water meters. The numbers that are there are estimates, okay? Meter installation estimate for 118 East 3rd Street. Total, or material and parts is 1,800. Equipment and labor is 2,578, with a grand total of $4,378. And as the paragraph continues, this property may have had water service at one time, but there is absolutely no evidence of a meter or connection to that to the water main. Okay? Going back 40, 50 years, there were a few residential meters and supposedly recorded at that property, but right now that property has not had water service. And this summer, when the owner was here cleaning up her lot, she said that they had kind of started, wanted, but never finished, never completed. So this estimation is being submitted to the council to determine giving the possibility versus the absolutely no evidence of the water lines, any water meter that we could find anywhere, to determine if the property owner is required to pay for the water service installation or if the town be required for the installation.
As I understand it, there isn't any money in the budget to provide this service in the town budget. Therefore, I believe it becomes incumbent upon the owner of the property, if they wish to move forward with water and I believe sewer.
This is only pertaining to the water
Okay.
installation.
That this estimate be used as just that, as an estimate of what the cost would be. And I noticed that there has not been a $500 application fee paid.
Correct. There's two installations and neither party has come in to pay the $500 application fee.
There's an ordinance that says you have a $500 connection fee. So you can't violate your ordinance like that by charging people more.
It's an application fee,
There's a $500 connection fee, Paula.
which is an application fee.
What ordinance added the application fee of $500?
The ordinances that are being utilized is 0303.
Can you read the
03
part?
and 04.
Are you, I mean, I don't care if you're not going to charge these people, but if you're going to consider making a motion, then you need to read those ordinances.
And they have them.
Well, I think you better read them out loud to the rest of the people because,
I believe that we are discussing the estimate at this point in time.
okay.
That is the only notation that there is. So, anyone else have any thoughts concerning that?
Before you go further, I wanted to submit this to the council first before contacting the parties. Okay? And as it says here, no, no materials or parts have been ordered yet for these.
I have a question.
All right.
There's some questions out here, please.
Stand and request.
Be quiet, don't you tell me how to do it.
Stand
Who
and
hired you to stand in here and tell me what to do?
Excuse me,
This
You
is
should
not,
stand
you
and
are
ask to be
interrupted.
recognized.
I didn't ask you.
You think you ever.
We've held our hands up, nobody's paying any
this
attention.
is a council meeting though.
It is, but they're not asking any questions, there's
They
some
are.
questions.
Just relax.
$4,000, who is getting paid that $4,000? Is a town employee doing that? Or is this an outside company that we're hiring in? What's the procedure? Where did the $4,000 come from?
It's an estimate for material and parts, equipment and labor, if you had listened.
Who is
listened,
the
but
labor
who's
party?
labor? Who's doing the work?
Julie,
Thank you.
Me.
That's what we're wanting to know.
the end of this discussion is that we are, as a town council, debating this. This is not up for discussion from anybody else until the person that is involved says yea or nay. Okay? At that point in time, it is incumbent upon that person and that person alone to determine if they wish to pursue. If they don't wish to pursue, then it becomes a moot point. There is no reason for interruption, and if it occurs again, then the person that creates the interruption will be asked to leave.
Jim, there's no
Immediately.
reason for ignoring people. We're not trying to put it down, we're
Okay.
asking questions.
Do you understand what I am saying?
I understand what you're saying. Do you understand that people have the right to ask a question? The last time we had a water line put in, you hired an outside company to do it, and the town employees didn't know how to do it. That's why a couple of us are wanting to ask the same question, because
Okay,
we were curious. We were curious.
And that
Okay,
money
the
was
audience out there
reimbursed
doesn't
to the
Have a
individual.
right to speak while the council is discussing it. When
They
they're
weren't,
done
they were
discussing
sitting there
it-
still.
When they're done discussing it, then
Excuse me.
we can ask our questions.
this is the last time I'm going to say this. Anyone who interrupts the discussion is going to be asked to leave now. Do we understand this as an
Talk to me
audience?
like I'm a kid. There have been plenty of meetings where people have asked plenty of questions. This is a simple question.
Okay, for your information, 3rd Street is pretty much the oldest pipe in town now. And with the pipe that is there, it's very fragile, and it probably looks like what the example is, that's the piece in the office that is chunked off that from 7th Street. And with that, I understand that it is cast iron 6-inch main line.
I believe, yes, it's
That's okay.
no 4-inch cast iron.
Okay, 4-inch cast iron, okay. And with that being said, if that one installation goes bad and something has to be emergency, then 2 blocks worth of 3rd Street, if I understand, have to be shut off to get that fixed. So with that, yes, we've got bonded plumbing company to do the installation to the, hopefully, good main line. Because you never know until you get it dug up.
The worst thing to do
And the plumbing company that is going to be doing this are aware of the pipes and the fragility of them.
I would assume that it is.
Amy had her
Oh,
hand up.
sorry.
Paula, with you saying that on Third Street, that you are aware that those pipes are bad, do you recall the letter you sent me with your signature telling me that we are going to have to pay for that meter to be put in? But that money was to go to the city of Lynn, and instead, it didn't go to the city of Lynn, nor did the city of Lynn install that meter. You had a contractor come in and put that meter in. Are these people that are asking to have a meter put in, and you're writing these estimates, are they aware that the city of Lynn is not putting that in? That you're paying for a contractor to come in and put those in?
The letter hasn't been written yet. I'm asking for their guidance on that
Okay, and
letter.
I know that it's their issue, not my personal issue, but I would feel blindsided
No.
if I was to receive a letter, it was to be all approved and stuff, and I'm expecting the city of Lynn to show up to install it, and a contractor comes in. Because, I'm sorry, but we were blindsided by it. We were not told that a contractor was going to install that. We thought the city of Lynn was gonna install that, and therefore the charges were up higher, and you were gonna make us personally pay for that as residential until my husband made you aware that that's not how that was supposed to happen.
Okay, this is estimates, so
I
point
get
taken.
that. I'm
Point
just
taken.
stepping forward and
Yeah.
saying that those were my personal issues.
Right.
I feel bad if anybody was blindsided by it.
Right.
I mean, there's a big issue between the city of Lynn installing it versus a contractor installing it. So when you guys consider the estimates, just know that it's not for the city of Lynn, it's for this company that's coming in and doing it. And there will probably be more fees added on top of that than just what's in there.
Is East Third or West Third?
East,
East.
East third. Okay, so,
I should say too,
Council.
with you knowing that that pipe was already bad as it was, when it came to that, I mean, probably should have been fixed or looked at then.
That was when I first started here, and there was
It's
4
nothing
of those
against
that were already contracted out when I first got here. There were 4 of them.
Okay. I believe that the person at that address should be given the estimate with the understanding that it will be done. That is not the end cost, but that is an estimate, and they need to be made aware of, plus the application, if they wish to pursue it.
all right, moving to the second meter installation at 580 West Vulcan. Material and parts, $2,135. Equipment and labor, $4,050. Grand total estimate, $6,185. Okay, this property has never had water service, so it will be totally the property owner's responsibility to pay for that service. Also, please note that the site has shallow bedrock, and it is probable that an excavator with a rock hammer will be required. There would be an additional expense of $3,200 to mobilize the equipment and perform the rock work. Okay, once again, it's going to be 2-inch steel lines up there. Oh, 2-inch cast iron, sorry. And right now, we're trying to pinpoint the owners, because it looks like they have cleaned off and started possible beginnings of foundation. So we'll work on that, so.
That foundation that they're putting up there is for a garage, it has nothing to do with the house.
Oh, okay, so that's a garage, okay.
And they were up there today, working on it. I don't know.
Okay, but still, it's building. So, with that, those property owners also need to have a letter presenting an estimate and letting them know about the application and process.
I believe that we should be able to do so. Informing them of the estimate,
Okay.
and then they can make their choice as to what to do.
Okay, so council, second in the envelope is the requested, this person is requesting a zoning change from residential to commercial. Okay, it's right now, it's in residential. The resident has been given the information that you have as well, all of the county applications and the checklists and all that. He is to complete the Adams County documents for his request in full details. Has not presented anything to the office yet. When complete written plans are submitted, then you, the council, will be presented the documents for your questions and inputs for approval or not. Then, whatever that situation works out to be, then they will be sent to the Adams County Building and Planning for their evaluations. Okay. I do have a call in to Andy Lorenz for an appointment to find out more of what possibly this resident would have to go through. So that's coming down the
They
road
not
to.
still have to contact their neighbors?
I believe so.
I know when I did a zone change, we had to talk to my neighbors to make sure it was all right with them.
The residential zone pages out of the zoning ordinance has been given to the gentleman, and as well as the commercial pages. And I think it does say in there that, where is it? It needs not to be detrimental to nearby property or otherwise conflict with the purposes of this ordinance. So I think that you are right. Necessary for the preservation of property rights of the applicant, substantially the same as is possessed by owners of other property in the same zone or vicinity. So is that what you're talking about? All the neighbors.
I just had to check with them to make sure they had no objection to what I was planning on doing.
Yeah. When I first moved to town, I had to do the same thing, so. Yes.
What is the address of this place you're talking about rezoning?
I don't have the address.
Do you have a street?
It's in between Fifth and Sixth.
Cause that's a lot right across from your house.
And he's not here, so I don't know, is it?
What's that name?
Oh, okay. I don't have the address.
Going out of town to what the WSU station, going out of town.
Oh,
At any rate,
At any rate, it's.
until we
it's
get
in the
any more
process.
information, there's nothing to be done one way or the other.
Yeah, I just wanted you to be aware ahead of time now.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, council. Oh, I didn't do it. What Barbara's handing out is, some code compliance information. And it is double-sided. These are violations pertaining to ordinance 1101 and ordinance 278 only. This list has been compiled and given to you so that you could drive around and observe the infractions. The longer the explanation, second half of the page, the more things that are needing to be attended to. So going forward with the cleanup through the resolution, I believe that your goal is to have a workable process to have clean properties in town. In the beginning, it was objected to, but now in the process, we are cleaning, our dump is full, dumpsters have been also full and ordered and everything. So it's council's decision though, okay, of what the next steps would be for these properties. These are within, remember ordinance is 1101 and 278. I think the goal is compliance, cleaning up, getting your weeds down, firewall, fire protection around your house. But the ordinances are in place. So we just have to follow what is there for the next steps. I don't know, do you want to remember, I think it was might have been 2 pages, might have been another double-sided that Henry typed up the steps of the process after the violation's been identified and letters sent, the next steps. In our ordinances, you could go one way or the other way, lien or like a hearing type situation. So, but this is a list compiled by Henry.
Okay, there appears to be a lot of brush, weeds, accumulated debris, and fire hazards. I guess this question is of Henry.
Yes.
Has there been anyone that has come to town hall or has voiced a concerned that they need to, they need more time.
There have been, and it's been extended, but no improvement.
So these 2 pages are,
Still,
they are still not
they're
in
still not in
compliance.
compliance.
Okay. Refresh my memory, what are the steps to proceed?
There will be a notice of abatement to go out. Okay, and then they will have the opportunity to come before the council to state their reasons why they shouldn't clean up. Okay, and then it's the council's responsibility, if they want, to do a resolution stating that the town says, yes, you're not in compliance, and now it's up to the town to do the cleanup. They then have the opportunity to go between the district court and superior court and make a countersuit against the town on their expense of why they think they don't have to clean it up. And if they don't go through that, then the council can make a resolution stating that this property is not in compliance, and that's it. When the notice of abate later goes out, they have the 10 days to clean it up. And if they don't clean it up, then they can come before the council and say why they didn't.
I would think that in every instance that
I mean, there are major ones and there's minor ones, but do you pick out the majors and leave the minors, or is it across the board? You don't want to point
I
fingers at a
believe
certain person
that
and say,
if we are going
just you.
to enforce one, we
Then
will
we'll
need to
enforce all.
enforce all. So,
And it's the
If it's in
council's
hand.
decision to enforce it, no one else's.
okay. So our next action,
Drive around and look and take notes, so that when the letters go out and if people start showing up, you'll have the answers to give them. It's a slow step, slow procedure. It's not right away.
well, there's quite a long list here. It would seem that since we're going to be closing the dump shortly, that if anyone wishes to comply with the ordinance, suggestion would be to get the brush and weeds gathered up.
You can gather your weeds and brush and just put them in a corner. Don't forget, the burn ban is off, so if you have the right receptacle, you can burn it.
All right. Well, it looks like the next action is to issue the abatement orders.
Do you want to entertain some questions or comments?
Okay, who had their hand up first? Heather?
Sorry, I have weak shoulders, so holding my arms up for that long takes a long time. One thing I just wanted to add to that is maybe some of our comments could help in your decision-making. So maybe noticing our comments a little sooner. I know we're all trying to stay civil in this because we would like our answers, our questions answered. I don't know what ordinances you guys are looking at. I just know the numbers. So it would be nice if we knew exactly what ordinances you guys are addressing. Also, you guys, earlier this year, didn't do the free dump day. And it's coming to that time during the fall, because you did it twice a year, spring and fall. So this might benefit those people that you have the list of to help clean up their areas, to do a free dump day. And it typically happens after the yard sale, if I'm not mistaken, to help kind of clean up some messes. From my personal research, as far as code enforcement goes, I was, I guess, under the understanding that you had to contact the county sheriff's department. I don't know, again, what ordinances you guys are referring to, so maybe there's another step that needs to be taken as well.
Okay. The county sheriff's office will deal with right-of-way infringements, but as far as cleaning up brush.
Again, I didn't hear what the ordinances were, so I am unclear on the cleanup of the
I don't
town.
have it with me, but
Okay,
it's the nuisance ordinance for brush and trash and garbage and
So there's,
the cars, that's the problem.
so you,
Getting the cars out of the yard, they have to, because, you know,
so the cars out
the
of the yard
town
would
is
be
not allowed
a
to walk
county,
on
right?
the property to check the cars, the VIN numbers.
Right, so the
A
cars
law
would be inspected
enforcement
by the sheriff's
officer.
department.
The sheriff will go on anybody's property because their contract does not enforce our ordinances, the civil things. No, do
Okay,
not go
so,
on the property.
so the town can say whether or not I can have a vehicle on my property?
It's in there, yes.
Can you send those out to, or like put them in, like the billing, like, when you send out the bills, can you put out those ordinances? Because as far as my understanding and checking with law enforcement and courthouse on all these issues, not that I have vehicles, but you own your property, you're allowed to have what you want on your property, as long as it does not affect the city or walkways, and there's, I mean, lane of traffic can go through. There's nothing
It
stating.
says that if it's a detriment to the neighbors, okay, it's,
So if you get a complaint, I totally understand that, but that complaint needs to go along with whatever your ordinance or whatever you're saying, because it doesn't, it's your
the
property.
R says all vehicles cannot be on a piece of property more than 45 days without being licensed and tagged on. That's what the ordinance says.
I would change
Well,
that
and
motion.
Amy,
That's a
I'm
bad
sorry.
Amy, you can come in and do a public records request and get the ordinances that you're questioning.
We already got this. I mean, not for the city, but I mean.
Okay,
Yeah,
Denise has her hand up.
So you left out the part about the fact that the town, when you send an abatement letter to the individual, if they do not comply, then it comes to the town. The town has to go clean it up and put a lien on the house.
that is one method.
And you left that completely out.
No, I said lean. You can go lean.
But you
or
didn't
can go ahead.
explain that our town crew has to go clean up
Or
the
you
house.
hire somebody to do it.
Yes, you could hire
Okay,
somebody.
now, with the letters go out.
However,
and
there
the
are
people
laws, there are laws requiring rights for people to go on other people's property. You're not gonna find a company that's gonna go on someone's property and just do that because it's illegal. The town has the right to do that according to ordinance.
It's always said, the
other
ordinance
place
says
doesn't.
that town employee or designees of the town.
I don't think another company is a designee of the town.
I could,
You
if I
will
didn't
call
work for the
somebody.
town, I
That's
could make a
fine. Just
company.
call them, get somebody's name and see if they'll do it.
Kathy,
Just call them.
This is for Heather, you said that we didn't have a town dump this spring? Wasn't that April 16th or 23rd?
No,
Last year, they didn't have the fall ones.
yeah.
Oh, we
And
did.
then this year, they haven't scheduled fall one.
Mainly because the free dump day costs the town about $500 to $5,200.
So,
The tip fee is $80-something. but,
Okay,
it's bad.
We did have one in the spring.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
we did have one.
April 29th.
Okay, in answer to the question about, what ordinances are being applied, anyone is able to go into the town office between 8 and 5, Monday through Friday, and obtain a public records request, of any ordinance or resolution that they have a question about.
So, can I ask a question?
Okay.
How do we get the ordinances changed? Because I feel like we should have a say on what we have on our property. Like if I'm fixing a car and it takes me 8 or a year or so to do it, just based off of parts, I'm not gonna have that. Like, I shouldn't be micromanaged on having things on my own property. In my opinion, I think that ordinance needs to be adjusted.
Well,
I think it's a misinterpretation, to tell you the truth.
Every
Well,
town
then the
has the
wording
same
needs to be
They're-
cleaned up
ordinance.
They're
then. Either
missing.
way, it needs to be adjusted.
okay, the primary idea of ordinances and resolutions,
Just for the health and safety of the community.
thank you. In order to fulfill that obligation, a code enforcement officer was hired.
I understand his job, but a
Okay.
junk vehicle does not harm anybody else except for my property. That is not a health and safety
Okay,
matter.
I-
I apologize for
I
speaking
would-
out, but
Yeah, I
It's-
would not debate that with you, but if it has not been licensed in what,
45 days.
45 days, then, okay, if you have, the problem that we are finding is that not so much that the ordinances are out of order, but it's a lack of understanding and consideration given the town that come in and talk. I've told, I don't know how many people, the same thing. If you have a ordinance that, you know, you don't agree with, you've gotten a letter, it is a courtesy letter. Okay, that's all it is. It asks you to do a certain thing. Okay, you read the letter. Anybody that disagrees with it, bring it to the town, have a discussion, come to a resolution on what you can do.
I can see your point on that, to come in and, I get it, it's a courtesy. However, it does take time out of somebody's day to do that. It's an annoyance. If your neighbor has a problem with your property, then they should take it up with you. You should be a community. This is a small town.
Okay, excuse me 1 second. Kathy, I remember a few years back, you had a neighbor that had piled junk to the rafters on their property. There were rats running around in it. There were all kinds of material that was offensive to any human being. She did what she thought was the right thing, exactly what you suggested. She went over to him. She said, look, this is very bad. It needs to be taken care of. She even went so far as to say, if you need help, I will help you do this. The response was, get the H off my property. And that seems to be the general consensus when you approach somebody personally, okay, and ask them, look, let's clean this up. The whole idea of ordinances and resolutions is to clean up the town. We have members of the town council that came before they were members of the council asking to have things cleaned up.
So with that example you just gave, if she went to them and she told them to get the hell out, then she would have to go to the city and say, hey, I want to report these people under this ordinance. It shouldn't be the code enforcer's job to micromanage.
Okay,
That-
at that point in time, there was not a code enforcer in place. Okay.
Right.
But it's,
I don't know if you can see where I'm going with this, but you shouldn't have to threaten, it looks like over 50 people to leave their homes based off of this. I don't know. Maybe I'm out of line, but it just
okay.
doesn't seem right to me.
I say something? I've been a lifelong resident of this town, and it's not been since the last 10, 15 years that our town has even started looking like this. That there was even a need for a code enforcement. It all came with drugs and everything. And now we have a mess. And I think we are taking the steps to clean it up. And push back against everybody just thinking they can pile everything up on the right of way and they don't have to move.
Okay, thank you for that.
Can I add to that though? When a child is abused, who are you gonna call? When you see something that's not habitable, who are you gonna call? I'm sorry, it might be a city's problem, it might be a local resident's problem, but as an adult, you should be educated enough now, having younger kids or other siblings or aunts, uncles, grandparents, or whatever. If you see a problem, go to the right authority. An enforcement officer, he might have the right authority, but he's still gonna have to take the same channel as any other of these residents are going to have to take. So if you see a nuisance house like Kathy had here, which I totally agree with, I'm right there with Kathy. I mean, that's a health department risk. That's not upon the city. It's a health department and law enforcement.
Go above all of it and just do what you wanna do. Call whoever you wanna call.
Well, I'm just saying, an enforcement officer
The
is great
health
and all of that.
department usually won't step in unless there's kids.
Yes.
Right,
And then,
So
okay, you
your
got
hands are
adult
tied.
protective services that I had to deal with a bunch of elderly people. Instead of going to our city or law, you start with Channel 1 and you keep moving your way up. I mean, it's just common knowledge. I mean, I feel bad, yeah, he's an enforcement officer, he's gonna go around and he's gonna look and see these nuisances, you know? I mean, it's obvious you guys aren't getting anywhere, you're trying your hardest, but putting liens on people's properties, yeah, that's gonna scare them, but until you have somebody higher up, enforcement, whether it be health, any of that, you're not gonna get anywhere, is
Well,
how
the
I
health
feel with
department
it.
has been called several times, and there's no children in the situation, so they wouldn't touch it.
And
They
APS won't touch
refuse.
them, and APS won't touch them because an adult has every way
Well,
right to live the
and
way they
it should
do.
be dictatorship on how a person lives. If they're inside their home and it stays in their home, and they do come in and they investigate and they see that it's a danger or a risk, they'll either remove or they will force whatever they have to force. I mean, that's how it's been. That's how it's been for 13 years. And then my last question is so you can educate my uneducated mind. Who regulates the weeds? I thought it was the weed board and through the county, not the city.
Noxious.
Am I
weeds.
missing?
Noxious.
Exactly.
Just noxious.
All the other weeds are a fire hazard.
But you have rose water, you have this one.
okay,
Okay. 4 years, at least.
Guys, Rose has floor.
At least 10 years. I had a neighbor across the street from me that had all kinds of abandoned junk cars and RVs and all kinds of stuff. And I yelled and screamed and did everything I could to get the council attention to get them to clean it up. Nothing was done. I had to go through 3 wire changes in my car because of the mice and rats and rabbits eating at my wires in my car. They even put the flexible metal over the wires to protect them. They ate through that. $4,000 later, and still nothing was done. We need something in place and someone in place to be able to prevent stuff like that from happening. And that's why there's a code enforcement.
Okay. Kathy?
So Heather, you're saying in my yard, if I have a car, one car, I'm working on it for a year, he's gonna come and pay me for it. If he sends you a letter, go down to council, go down to town hall and say, hey, this is a car I'm building, whatever, have it presented to the council, you'll probably be fine. But this, I'm still talking, this is, the code enforcer was in place for the houses that have 5, 6, 7 cars all jacked up in their yards, that aren't doing nothing forever, weeds coming out the windows. That's more what the code enforcer is for, and it's his responsibility to differentiate. So, Stephen, what you said, all the drugs that come into town, we had there was 2 landlords that had rentals all over. They didn't care who they rented to. You pay your first $500, you pay your monthly rent. They pay that, month or 2, quit paying. Water bills weren't paid, electric bills weren't paid. They're the drug dealers, they're smelling meth, whatever. That's why the town's gone downhill, because you've had these shit houses in here that the landlords didn't care.
Yeah, I have one that lives right next to my grandmother.
Right. Yeah, I saw that the other day. They walked her up the road.
Yeah.
You know, so it's for us who have homes and care about the town, there's the few that have the homes that don't care and they feel bad for people, so they let them in. You gotta talk to those landlords, say, hey, stop renting to these people. You're just bringing trash to town. And it's not just drugs, it's all the garbage, the loud cars driving up and down the roads.
But I heard that, like, certain landlords that you're talking about, I mean, don't quote me on this by any means, okay? But, I heard that if you rent a certain people or whatever, they still get, the landlord still gets paid.
If they have somebody that pays their bills.
No, if they
Yeah,
get paid by the state.
Yeah, the
People
state
that-
state selects a payee for that person.
Yeah,
And
so
so
the
they pay
landlord
that
still
person.
gets paid.
Yeah, but that is only in a couple of cases.
So the council's tried, you know, you sent letters to the landlords, you sent letters to the renters, water bills aren't paid. Landlord comes in and says, give me credit, I can't help it, they didn't pay. That's not our fault, that's not our fault as a town or the council, and the council has to decide on that. So, you know, everybody has to go to the landlord and say, hey, stop renting to these people, do background checks, credit checks, whatever it takes to get good people in town, people with jobs, people who don't have jobs in this town. What are they doing? They don't even get out and mow their yard. They don't care. It's not the council's fault. It's not the mayor's fault. It's not our fault. It's the landlord's fault. They need to step up to the plate and be a better person themselves.
I offered at one time to do background checks for one landlord, and he told me no, because if they do a background check, they won't rent. So, done.
There's no rent to them.
The major principle that we're trying to achieve is to clean the town up. And anything that the town residents can do in conjunction with the town council is more than appreciated to achieve this objective. One of the things, I mean, you can go through the entire thing on this sheet here. Okay, keep in mind, it is brush and weeds. Okay, it's not a big thing, but it helps keep the town clean. It keeps the rats out of the cars. And I have the same problem, only I did it myself. Never again. Okay, so this is what we're trying to achieve. Okay, so please bear with us. It is not an idea that was formed in someone's mind to keep certain people under control. It is trying to achieve a clean and prosperous town, one that we can attract new people to, that we could make a nice, livable place. That come up with ideas on how to make the town grow. The entire town. I looked across all the faces in this room, and I'm sorry to say I see not one person of Latin descent. Yes.
Talk about town growth. We had AC/DC. This is for people who never came to the meeting when we have these things. AC/DC.
At your leisure. Okay, so, with that, I would like to return to the agenda with the Finance Committee.
Myra, do you have any questions concerning the warrant check register?
No, I didn't see
Okay.
anything there.
I make a motion to pay the warrant check register dated 10/11/2022 to 10/24/2022 in the amount of $37,470.78.
I second the motion.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to, approve the 10/11 to 10/24/2022 warrant listing in the dollar amount of $37,470.78. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, we also have outstanding invoices dated from 9/30/2022 to 10/21/2022 in the amount of $45,325.62.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the September 30th to October 21st, 2022 for the dollar amount $45,325.62. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Myra, do you have anything?
I do.
Okay, Laura, do you have anything? No? Mr. Dorsheimer?
I do. There was some commentary made the last council meeting about fighting fires. And I hope to address Mr. Wold in his capacity as a firefighter. Please understand that unless you are trained and trained well in the methods and the usage of fire hoses and other apparatus to fight fires, you are on a fool's errand that will cost you your life. I, along with many other people that I know, have been in volunteer fire departments. The reason I'm not in one now is I couldn't make the muster. It's that simple. It is a very difficult task, it is an arduous task, and it is extremely hazardous. To place yourself in a situation where you're going to try to fight a fire, even with minimal training, you're asking to find yourself a plot up in the cemetery. I cannot emphasize that strongly enough. If you don't know how to fight a fire, please do not even entertain the idea. If there is an evacuation, move out. Get out of the way, let the professionals handle it. This time, we were lucky. We had volunteer fire departments from other areas come in. We had farmers who've been engaged in firefighting and supplying tanker trucks that helped save this town. What you see is pretty bad devastation. The first time that I brought my kids in on the bus to school, I said, look over to the south. This is what happens when a fire gets out of control. And thankfully, we had enough people, and they were thanked, and I would continue to thank them as well for their part in stopping the fire from engulfing the entire town. So, I'm sorry, that's my soapbox, but it needed to be said. Okay. No commentary is directed at any one person or any group. I just want you to understand how difficult it is to fight fires. So, thank you.
Okay. All right, on the list, citizens with comments, Mr. Bratton.
Well, I get, taking a look at what we're selling our waters for, potable and non-potable. Potable is going for penny a gallon. Go to the grocery store, take a look at the price, $1.39 a gallon. Our prices need to come up on that. We're selling way too cheap. Number two, non-potable water, penny a gallon, again. Go up to Moses Lake, up to Grant County, buy non-potable water up there. It is $1.16 a gallon. We are selling way too cheap. The water prices need to come up. That will take and help support the town. And I think the council and the mayor ought to take and get together and bring those prices up to the going price of what they're selling. Because it's not benefiting the town at all by selling it at a penny a gallon.
All right, thanks. Next on the list with no subject is James Schmunk.
I had a question earlier, but it was answered. I would like to address Vicki and holding the town accountable. I recall you having quite a different attitude and presenting yourself a little more forcefully when you taught us all about dog poop and how harmful it is.
Yes.
Has that been resolved? Has there been any contact? Have they put in any of those dog poop bag and garbage cans? Have you had a conversation with the council or the mayor about that? Or have they approached you since you did a very good presentation?
No, ma'am.
So how about let's talk about being accountable for somebody who spoke a year ago just about the dog poop, because we still have the same people walking around with their dogs, letting them come up in people's yards, not cleaning up after them. There's a handful of them. They're the same people that I wrote letters to when I was a mayor, asking them to please stop and clean up after their animals. I think part of accountability, since you brought this up at a meeting, and I know that I haven't seen any changes.
I would like to.
It would be nice if maybe you could start there with somebody who requested something a year ago. Yes?
Just one comment. Actually, I was asked by Paula to get with Mike at his request to talk that over, and Councilman Wold has not approached me. So I have not approached him.
Okay, well, I mean, the mayor, the clerk could spend 10 minutes on the phone or on the computer and look up how much it would cost for some of those little stations. There could have been a report back about it. But a lot of things are brought up at the meetings and a lot of things are not addressed, they're just ignored. And that's a part of accountability that you were saying you're gonna hold them to. That's why so many of us come to these meetings and we're so angry at times, is because things that get brought up that are important to the town as a whole don't ever seem to get taken care of, but some kind of nonsense things seem to be top on the priority list, and people get, oh yeah, okay, we listened to you, see you later, and a year later, nothing has been done. So as far as accountability goes on her subject, let's try and make sure that we're addressing what the people in this town are asking. You know, just some kind of a response back.
Okay. All right, next on the list is Mandy Pfeiffer. answers to questions. No?
Can't ask them, they're not here.
Okay. Denise Mead with nothing.
Yeah, I've got a couple different questions. Number one, our garbage fund is 8,000 in the hole was the last paperwork I saw. What does it say on the current budget? How far in the hole is the garbage fund now? And what are your plans to do something about it, Paula?
I don't have my copy.
I do not have the current numbers, but yes, the garbage is in the hole. So, hopefully as the ending of the year, the dumpsters that are being, ordered here for cleanups will help that.
$200 a week? That would be 40 dumpsters in the next 2 months
Well,
to make up $8,000.
you've got things going out and things coming in, so. Is that it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Audience?
Yeah, can I say something? Okay, my husband was speaking about firefighting and things like that. I've seen a lot of fires, I've seen people burned to death in their homes. I've seen a lot more. But the thing that hurt me the most was my father trying to fight a fire. And he was burned and charred over 40% of his body. He almost died. He was in the hospital for almost a year, okay? If you're gonna go out and try to fight a fire, you better learn everything you can about it, because he did know, but he still got caught on fire. And I'd appreciate it if you'd all work toward that, not going and fighting a fire. It is devastating when a person gets burned and charred that much, okay?
Oh, sorry. So with that being said, with the fire, if anybody had noticed all the police in the area, when there was a car that, or a vehicle, people crossed the line, got too close to the fire, the cops were there to remove those people, so the firefighters could do their job. So I don't think town people are just gonna run out and jump in the middle of flames and try to do something, because they're gonna get stopped anyways. My opinion.
They should have, they stopped.
I'm saying I got in trouble last time.
Okay. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Come on, Lord.